Well, good evening. Um, I'm drinking hot tea, but I just thought I gotta eat a snack, but I just thought I can't take my evening meds with hot tea for my blood pressure. But anyway, but I will enjoy nice tea here. I wanna think on the fact that in United States that we have a problem that with violence, and especially towards children and women, with women being ejected dies, and children to a certain extent. I noticed, like in Disney, but anyway, and how it correlates with the Muslim, Christian, and war in a sense. And I just want to go back in my little time machine for a minute just to think on the fact that with Vietnam, one of the first things they did was with the napalm, which I think it's a lot like Roundup. Anyway, that's besides the point. But where they used napalm, so they had to totally destroy the people's culture, and even introduced them to Christianity. So took away their indigenous religions, beliefs, culture, and habitat. And but the capitalist society, in a sense, doesn't work right off the bat good, because you notice in like South America, Africa, and Philippines, and a lot of places where it had been colonized by the United States, France, London, or who have you, that the natives have to suffer. It's almost as if we're being invaded by straight up psychotic psychopaths that don't have any feeling, as we feel, no comprehension, the enormity of life. Like I'm looking at my the situation at the Middle East, and I see the same pattern throughout the different wars, where you go in an area and you totally destroy the people from there, the natives people way of making money, and you want them to go into capitalist, but where they end up getting either trafficking, in this new era of slavery, to another area, like they're showing in New York right now with the Asians, Koreans, Vietnamese people, manicures, and how they don't pay them, just basically Indian slave, modern day slaves. They actually pay, so never paid for a job. The job is so you can make a living off it, so they should pay you. But anyway, and I noticed with both religions, they do jeopardize women. And like with Vietnam, one of the biggest things that I noticed that came out of Vietnam, or at least I remember hearing men and other people speak on it, women speak on it, when they first came back from Vietnam. They were saying there is a sexually transmitted disease that doesn't have a cure. Then with Arthur Ashe, he was a famous black tennis player of his time, and really the tennis was so racist and trying to keep black out, at that time, because anyway, all business wanted to be in the hands of whites, not blacks. That's what they were trying for. But anyway, so you see when they when they go in these war areas that they totally devastate, like in Vietnam with the napalm, just because the people were living in the jungle. They were living off in nature and very independent, making their own clothes. You know, was able to provide their own food for themselves, grow it, or fishing, and making their own shelters, and were quite well and adapted. And the only thing that we offered when they came out of Vietnam is a lucrative sex industry, and then now we have them manufacturing clothes for places like Kmart's, Walmart's, etc. Or just manufacturing cheap, inexpensive stuff. Period. All the manufacturing went over there. But the one thing I noticed with both of them, especially, was with there, it's over there, it's Muslims. Over here, we have a high percentage of Christians. I think somebody said there was something like 75+ percentage of Americans, or maybe it's 85 or 80 or 75 to 80% of Americans say they're some type of Christianity, opposed to Buddhism, Jewishism, etc. But I'm getting tired. I gotta take my pill. I'm sleepy. But the main thing is to keep a community down and out. You jeopardize the women. You make being a female a shameful thing. You know, like we give like I heard like this like racist like remark from some policeman on a text that was going on that went viral, where he was saying, "Oh, look at this woman with 4 kids." Well, we have very famous white woman with on TV, 8 is Enough, and all these other shows where you have multiple white women, and where that doesn't look down, or you know, like the Mormons with 6 wives and 45 kids, and find out that the leader's a pedophile. All this is okay, but and and these women having multiple births and all this stuff. The only thing we want to give to the poor, down and out women, or well, not necessarily down and out, but the poor and the young, rather, is well, abortion. You know, that's your solution, abortion. Because why would you want to have the shame and humiliation to be an actual woman or something? And you best not breastfeed, because the humiliation of that. But I'm here to say, I guess sex industry in the war and with the drugs that they have to try to manufacture and getting out of Turkey and what else is over there, and all around that region, South America, we get a lot of our opiums also that we manufacture, a lot of pain pills and whatnot, drugs. That these places, they that the women, or like some of these places, like in South America, the sex industry is legal, and like if a John tries to beat a woman out of her money, she could go right to the police. So basically, the police and the school system seems to be the ones that are making sure that the generations continue this very, I would say, harmful and devastating type of sexual behavior that I really don't think it is the norm for a society. But I think that it is something that has been learned that is acceptable. And I mean, it's lucrative with the war to have people terrorized and feared, like in the Middle East, and then you have the women are out of the picture. You probably say, oh well, we're a weaker species or whatnot, but I don't think when it comes to lobbing a grenade or pointing a gun that it really concurs any strength. It doesn't need, you don't need to have a strength, you know, to map out or draw maps of a terrain, there's so many activities, you know, typing information that needs to be coming in, you know, intercepting information, monitoring radios or some type of communications. I'm sleepy. I'm putting this warm stuff on my eyes. It's bad. Put a warm mask on my face before I go to bed. But anyway, so, you know, there's no reason why women are taken halfway out of the situation. It's just like there's no reason why in today's, well, time that we don't look at the fact of saying that the same way we had the Indians when they came to the United States end up fighting, and then after they ended up fighting and actually winning, the British just came and slaughtered them instead of honoring their peace treaty. You see the same thing now in the Middle East. When the United States pulled out, they left these people with a type of policing that I think that they probably trained them here, where they're actually causing more harm to the people in their community. You can look at the bombed out buildings, the high death rate, and the people that are migrating out of their native area, trying to find safe haven, and all along the way, people are making money off of these people's being in such a devastating torment and traumatized by not only the war, a lack of supplies coming in because of the war, so there's food, and their houses being bombed out, sheltered. You know, they don't have the right shelter. You know, and then like clothes could always be a problem if you're running for your life. The last thing you might want to do is carry a suitcase or food. So we'll keep these people at a perpetual state to where, like in America, the situation like with the women and in the sex industries, other women look at you know, as other women as some type of competition, not some type of unity or some or that or if we ganged, not really gang together, but if women were more adhesive in our ways. But as soon as a guy comes along, we're trying to, oh, he's cute, you know. But there's something that we need to think about with our children, and to look at the society that we're in now, and the violence and the war and the terrorists that we have. Is it anything that we can, as one person at a time, individual, in existing groups that you're already in, something to talk about? Because I know there's feminist groups, and I know, like, with me, myself, I don't feel myself as effeminate, but there's like this old guy over here, he's like 80-something years old, and he's like, oh, for Mother's Day, like, the man cooked, and he wanted to just buy chicken or something, and from a fast food restaurant, and they're like, no, we want you to cook it. And he goes, well, you know, his wife died. Well, the other men, they cook too, but you know, they had their wife cook. You know, so now men are so helpless. You know, that you know that they can't cook, they can't clean. Because, like, you know, I'm not gonna have somebody come up in here and think that because they're a man that I gotta cook and clean for them. You know, if they don't, you know what I'm saying, I'm not going to clean up after no grown person. And some days I have hobbies and I have, you know, things that I like to do, and I like to spread them out, like if I'm sewing or knitting or crocheting or painting or drawing or reading, you know, whatever I'm doing, if I want to spread it out, you know, messing with my plants, and, you know, and stuff like that. So you know, and so I don't, you know, I've seen guys where they think that's dirty. I'm like, it's not. There's a difference between dirty and messy. Like I don't have a trash can around, and I notice sometimes if you don't have a trash can, they're not gonna like ask, like, you know, I have a trash bag that I hook on to my thing, and I just have one, and I take that out, you know, daily, and I don't put like food in it. But anyway, but they won't ask like where the trash bag is. They'll just assume, because I know this one guy, you know, he had threw something on the floor, and then like I ended up like picking up, and he came back the next day, and I was like, he's like, wow, you mean you clean up? I was just looking at him, because we've been programmed in such a way to think that, well, if you know, like the way my behavior, well, she's not doing things like everybody else. You gotta have a trash can that's, you know, piled up with stinky trash, and you run, you know, take it out to the trash thing once a week, and you know, and opposed to like, I don't want to do it that way, you know. And I gotta have it. My mom used to hook the trash on, and we take it out at night. But I mean, all these years I've been living alone, I've been in places where they had, you know, where the first thing they, you know, like one of my husband did was buy a big old trash can for the kitchen. I hate that shit. It's not like he's gonna. It's just something that he had got whooped for as a child. But a lot of when he was white, but he got whooped. But he got whooped for as a child, so he had a real like problem about taking trash out. I didn't get whooped as a child, so like me taking trash out, I don't understand why it's a problem, you know, or doing anything around the house, like doing dishes, that's for me. You know what I'm saying? So like I see a lot of people, they have still, you know, I have different hang-ups, which, you know, I can respect, you know, like, okay, you got whooped, so you're going to act crazy. I can respect that because of this type of society we have, that we have violent people, that we have people that's going to be shooting policemen when they pull them over, or policemen are just going to be shooting people, or policemen are going to be stung in guns. But I know one thing, they're not going to respect the fact that I'm not with that. I'm not with your violence. I'm not with your jeopardizing women and children. I'm not with the way the police and the schools are treating and pumping out our kids, and I don't like the fact that it seems like we're doing more harm to our children without any concept of the outcome. Like look at Detroit, now Chicago, Memphis needs to be bankrupt too. You know, look at California. They got a water problem. Every place you look at, you can find issues with the cities while they're not working. And if we could just do one thing, is get rid of the probation on drugs. Get rid of that love hate or whatever that is, tough love shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, if you want to have some policies, have policies that where the outcome ends up being a positive, not a neighborhood that every other house is trying to be taken over either by the police or by the city, so we have a bunch of empty, abandoned houses, you know, and a bunch of policemen that just looks at somebody just trying to keep up the taxes on all the land that they own, and look at them because I'm not going to do things your way because my shoes wasn't under your mama's bed. We need to fix our schools. We need to fix our police department, and we need to fix the way we are approaching raising our tomorrow and way of our children.